Chaos Theory Season 3. This episode I've been putting off for way too long, and we're finally making it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life podcast, Jurassic Legacy. We're back with, I think he's live.
Oh, is that my cue?
Yeah.
You told me to go after you as I'm talking. I don't know what you were talking.
Hello,
it is me.
He's back,
I'm back
again.
again.
He's pretty much
Sorry.
on, I think, most of the Jurassic Legacy videos now. Probably. It wouldn't surprise me.
Good 45 of them probably at this point. We'll see. Let's not check that.
But a while back, something dropped. Chaos Theory Season 3. I've been putting off doing this. Some other things came up. We casually brought back fake dire wolves. We had the release of Rebirth trailers. Started doing some external work for the podcast. Dropped a Patreon. Go check it out. It's really cool. I need funding.
That's really cool.
This stuff ain't cheap, apparently.
Wow, good with us all.
What? But yeah, Chaos Theory Season 3 dropped, and we got a lot of new content from behind the scenes that adds more to Dominion. Yes, Dominion. I don't know why I was getting that in Rebirth. Yeah, the movie that hasn't dropped, we're getting behind the scenes for that. We will probably somehow get Chaos Theory behind the scenes for Rebirth. Let's be honest.
Oh, I can't wait for the third show to drop in 4 years from now after the Rebirth trilogy is nearly done, and they need to fill in all the plot holes for that trilogy as well. Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I am so happy to finally be touching on Chaos Theory Season 3. Keep wanting to say Camp Cretaceous, but
it's their own fault. They pull up CT and CC. I mean, what? It's a letter apart.
Chaos Theory Season 3, Camp Cretaceous Season 7?
Yeah.
Season 7, Season 8, something like that. I don't remember.
I have to explain it to some people as that sometimes. Like, they keep looking at it as if like they're two very different shows. Like, they want to count one of them as canon and one of them as not. I'm like, no, they're the same people, the same characters, the same show. I have to keep Google AIing all the answers for you, but it's like, the show is actually canon according to these many sources. I'm like, there you go.
So, as we know, Brooklyn is alive. I think we figured that out in Season 1, into Season 1.
Season 1. She was at the end of Season 1.
Yeah, something like that.
She's in all of Season 2.
She's working with Soyona Santos, the Soyona Santos.
My queen!
We get some behind the scenes on Biosyn. They're working with Soyona. Oh, yeah. I should probably say spoilers for Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Season 3. If you haven't watched it by now, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, what are we doing? Why aren't you going back to watch Season 3 of Camp Cretaceous, bro? You did it again.
Watch it! Watch it!
You did it again. You called it CC.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
Chaos Theory. You know what I meant.
No. It's all with the letter C.
It's all the same stuff after a while.
Ooh. All right. So just to snag the spotlight away from you there for a second, Eric, I gotta ask you, overall, right? So you watched it very recently, yes?
I watched it today, leading up to this. Yes.
Oh, see,
I did my homework.
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like when somebody actually shows up and wants to do the assignment. So, tell me this: what are our thoughts on Season 3 as a whole, and just off the rip? So,
for the later announcement that I have been building up to, trying to keep it secret for some reason because that's bad marketing. So much stuff has just become canon for me that I was just like, yes, we saw more of Malta. We have bigger dinosaurs that can be controlled. The handler is dealt with now, I guess.
So many points to talk about there.
Yeah, but like, we have so much behind the scenes stuff. Like, there's so much weird energy between Dodgson and in I was about to say Brooklyn, but yeah, Brooklyn and Santos. Like, you throw the handler in there. What did Dodgson mean when he told the handler they'll be yours soon? Was he talking about the Raptors? Was he talking about Santos? We have Santos and the handler running through Malta doing
stuff and things.
basically James Bond level stunts.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so
Okay,
good then. It's good.
I was cutting up when she was jumping over all the cars, and I was like, in the back of my head, she was running with Red, and I was like, let's go for a jog.
Go for a run now. Got to take my Raptor out for a run.
It reminded me of the cop from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Flint Lockwood!
Flint Lockwood!
Oh, God. Well, it certainly devolved quickly there, so I assume if that by that standard, you thought it was a very good season. Did you like it more than season 2? Because I've seen from many people, they say that season 2 was still phenomenal, but that it was a bit of a dip in terms of like story progression.
I don't think that's a fair. I think they deliver on two different purposes.
Absolutely.
In season 3, I feel is still lacking in comparison to season 2. But season 3 sets up and answers a lot more things than season 2.
Right.
Because season 2 felt very complete with just an entire story in Senegal. I felt like it was very complete and like finalized whenever they left and they were heading towards, I guess they got picked up by Barry in Senegal.
Yeah, so
not to very abruptly.
Yeah, not to throw myself in here at all, but I certainly do have some thoughts as well on season 3. Not particularly negative, just more ones that have left me more confused than everything else put together, right? And the first one of those that starts is the fact that as soon as Brooklyn takes off with Sayona on the jet runway, Barry just shows up out of nowhere. Not only that,
but instant transmission in. Like,
he literally did, right?
What?
And I was like, wait a second. So again, I thought that they were there to bust Sayona, and they were kind of gonna do that, but also then they weren't. They were just taking. Okay, here's my first big contradiction.
Obviously, he chased them to Senegal.
Okay, well here's my first big contradiction for you, right? So, again, this is what I do, to point out all the inconsistencies. This is why they bring me on. Exactly. So here's the first thing, right? So Barry is taking these last few dinosaurs that presumably they've caught on the streets of Senegal, right? Sayona's dinosaurs that they caught on the streets of Senegal, right? Not only does he spot the campers who apparently have been trained to be like jutsu ninjas this whole time, but he spots them immediately from their hiding spot. I'm like, that's interesting.
Were they just like standing on the tarmac for like 3 hours?
No, because it's literally the minute after they leave. It's crazy how fast Barry shows up with this freaking massive jump.
He just missed them. He's not. He also just misses them, and he's not immediately like, "Hey, take down that plane," because they wouldn't be
scramble
like
or call them to return.
Chase that plane. He's like, oh yes, campers. It's like
he's like, oh hey, you guys. I'm like, wait a minute. For one, you never met this guy. Yes, you know him through association, barely, but even still, it's like he immediately knows them, and then he knows who they are. I get it. They're famous-ish. I get that. But again, just not to even ask why they're there. I guess to begin with, as far as I remember,
is very obvious for being in Senegal. Obviously, he needs to be in Malta because of Dominion, and they don't want to contradict that. I get why he was in Senegal. Malta, Dominion, not Senegal, Malta, but he's clearly in Senegal because he needs to get the campers from point A to point B, because after that first episode, you do not see him again until the last 2 episodes.
And that to me was the first little sign that I'm like, oh, this feels very contrived. This feels like, we need a way to get to there. And I get it, but like it does feel like it just kind of come out of straight away nowhere, you know?
They can't have them drift. There's no reason for them to just drift.
And again, they have no passports and stuff, and I understand all that. So I do get that, but that was the first little section. I was like, ooh, wait a minute. Now, here's the second one for you, Eric, right? Small detail you may or may not have overlooked that, again, I just fixated hyper much over. You remember where he's taking us? Yeah, well, that. But like, do you remember where he's? They're all alive. You remember where he's taking the dinosaurs? By any chance?
Munich.
He's taking them to the DPW, but the DPW has literally been confirmed in season 2 to have been shut down
That's true.
So what, did they just not get the memo, or like what's the deal
Well,
there?
was he taking them to the DPW? Because he was saying that they were
I
going to.
believe
He said he was
was.
going to go drop the Kintrosaurus off in Munich because they had like a dinosaur hospital facility there.
Yeah, and the bigger, sorry to
And
interrupt
Munich
there,
is
but, like, the thing that
southern
also gets
Germany.
me there, right, is the fact that they literally say, so this is one of my little contradictions I've always had with CT compared with Dominion. So they say in season 2, right, that the DPW was kind of shut down, right?
Yeah.
But then in Dominion, literally still within that time frame, we see that Grant and Sattler go to a DPW, like holding pen and facility where before they get transferred to the Biosim facility. So the company's still technically running then. So I just do you think that they mean when they say closed down, right? You mean like Cabrera's branch of the DPW, like the North
That's.
American department, perhaps? Like,
I
because it's a
don't see why
little
the
strange.
entire department would be closed.
I don't know. Like,
Because even with like DMVs here in America, every state has their own DMV.
right.
So I don't see why every state also wouldn't have some kind of paleo, like.
Well, they're all the DP.
Part of law enforcement.
Yeah, because it's all the DPW, right? But that's my whole thing. So like,
it
if it
all falls
closes
under the
maybe,
DPW, but like,
yeah,
I think his branch was shut down. Like the
okay,
Texas branch was shut down or whatever.
surely it must be, right? Maybe it must be, because otherwise, I'm thinking to myself, like, it's crazy to think that like that's a massive inconsistency. I mean, that goes up there alongside with the fact that Darius and them don't know that there are other dinosaurs on other continents, and.
Well, I guess they were on a boat for long enough to kind of not know.
Well, here's the thing, but right, like we know straight away from the end of Fallen Kingdom that they get shipped all over the world, and then by the time Dominion starts, they literally have an entire I think it's called news report about how the dinosaurs were moved all around the world. It's not like, and this takes place literally the same time, if not a few days or weeks or whatever before Dominion. So it's not like that the news of the whole world being like noticing dinosaurs everywhere has only just been discovered. Like, this is like a long-term established sort of thing. Like, and I'm just shocked that they didn't. And I know that they kind of need to not dumb it down for kids or whatever, but like make it a little bit more understandable. But for me, that's one thing I was like, how are you all surprised about this? Because then remember later on in this exact season, season 3, they go to Italy. They crash land in Italy, and then they're surprised that there are dinosaurs there. And then that leads to an even bigger rabbit hole problem that I seem to have, and that is that the handler uses the raptors to intimidate the senator or whatever it is to sort of, I can't remember what he does exactly, but there's also a problem.
Or whatever.
Yeah, it was like, and there was a problem rights for the land as well, and this is where it really got me.
Okay, so there's a problem rights for the land, yet they were managed to build an entire facility.
Not only that, but they treat it in the show like it's a secret. Like that they pick up the Pyroraptor and they bring it back to the Biosim facility as if it's a secret, but it's a massive multi-billion-dollar building that the world knows about because Dawson has done like promotional interviews and shit for it. So it's like, and the campers were all shocked that that there was a thing nearby, and I'm just like, what do you mean? You're not going to try to tell me that this?
I guess how new? Well, Biosim's not new, but the Biosim facility would be new.
Bro, it's got to be at least 10 years.
They wouldn't have news in Senegal.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have news drifting to Senegal, which probably easily could have taken a month or two.
But this is the thing. Like I'll counter you on that one. I'll counter you on that one. So the news of Biosim facility being such a thing, right? Here's the thing. These campers who are all on social media or whatever have no idea that this thing is apparently there. But old ass tent pitching, camping Dr. Alan Grant out in the middle of Utah knows of it before Ellie even comes to him. He literally says this Biosim facility is like 100 miles away from anywhere. How are you even going to get in there? So even Grant knows about Biosim and what they are and all this sort of shit before even these campers know. I don't know, but it's just one little thing that just always.
I guess giving them the benefit of the doubt. Being out in the middle of nowhere, he probably still has some kind of. Somebody else was talking. It's one of his students.
Oh, look, I'm sure he has like young students and stuff that work with him that know about these things. But it just goes to show me, bro.
And they were drifting to Senegal on a boat with nothing, and then they fell off the boat, onto the life raft for probably several weeks. Then they were in
Oh
Senegal
no,
for a
no, bro.
while.
That was like a night. It had to be because there was no like long-term water supply of food on that boat, bro. They literally drifted there by the next morning. So here's
They
my
could
problem, right?
they could
My whole
only be
point
on
though
that boat
is
for 3 days tops without just
oh,
dying.
exactly, even shorter than that. So my whole point is that like these things like the big massive engine facility. Because remember, Biosyn. Oh, that's what it was. If I remember correctly, probably I don't, but she intimidated that senator so that Biosyn was the one to retain the sole collection rights of dinosaurs from the DPW. As
I
far as I
think
remember, I think that's what it
so.
was.
Something like that.
So here's the thing. So again, it's Biosyn's not a secret essentially. Like all this stuff should be
Yeah.
massively public knowledge about, like, that they have a facility and that they're the leading world genetics company, bro. But the show treats it as if it's like it's a mystery, and then like who's ever made like feather dinosaurs. Now that I can look past, because it's not like for
Well,
Biosyn to announce all the things that they have worked on, right? Like they're not going to say, oh, we've created this and this and this.
yeah, I don't see why they
But
would, because I think the idea of them
no.
creating new dinosaurs would be like, okay, well
Yeah, because we're
that's
trying
a
to
little
push the
far.
boundary of science, blah blah blah. But realistically, they're
But
trying to
like
leave
they're
in the
like, oh, we're
dust.
trying to collect all the dinosaurs. It's like, okay, well, why are you creating more?
Well, that's the idea, right? And the whole thing is like, again, I actually buy into a lot of what the presentation of what Biosyn is doing as a front in Dominion is. That's to like test the dinosaurs, like ancient immunity systems and stuff. They're new animals. They're new for testing and stuff like that. And technically, if they don't have any rights, you can test on them. And I get all that. That's actually makes a lot of sense to me. So, but sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. But like even to really jump towards the end of the season, right? Like we learned,
It,
and this is
like
another
they're
big problem
training
that
them to
yeah, no, well, even
fight.
more than that, bro. Even more than that. So for me, it's like by the end of it, we learn that the Atrociraptors are actually created by Biosyn as well. So for me, it's like there was always like three factions to me that always made it super interesting for me. It was the fact that like InGen created the Velociraptors and Owen Grady was able to train all them, right? And then Biosyn wanting to one up them, make a quote unquote universally paleo accurate dinosaur with the feathers, right? It shows them being at the bleeding edge, cutting edge of more advanced science, sure. But then it always made me think that the Atrociraptors were created by private people like Soyona, like who just were able to use the technology that became cheaper over time to use. And they made their own version of raptors and stuff.
Yeah.
But now I learned that, yeah, and I always thought that was so special, and that's what made it really interesting for me was that, like, yeah, sure, you got like, yeah, anyone can make dinosaurs, and then these
But
companies can do it
the
better. But if you
even
partner with
weirder, yeah, the even weirder part is like, so Yona keeps referring to the handler as her handler.
them, yeah,
She
exactly.
doesn't.
That was the
She
other thing,
doesn't
right? So
work for
if
Biosyn. She
yeah,
works
but
for
if she works for
her.
Biosyn, like, how did she? I know, you
So
know
why
what I
does
mean?
she
Like,
have the Atrociraptors?
right, I have so many questions. Like, she didn't buy them from like Biosyn or whatever. I don't know. It's so confusing because again, I thought like if it was Soyona's Social Raptors, then sure, that makes sense. She created them, she owns them until she wants to sell them. But then you're right. Like if they're technically property of Biosyn and she just wants to sell them, I'm sure Dotson doesn't really care, as he
Well,
is.
yeah,
Like they're
that
just
was kind
making
of the
more
whole
of them.
deal. Is that
Yeah. So
they collect all the dinosaurs. She's like sells them and splits the profit or whatever.
yeah, and I'm sure that that deal works well. By the way, we got to talk about Dodson shortly, bro. But oh my god, just I don't know. It left me wondering. I'm like, so if Biosyn is the only big company out there making all the dinosaurs, does it feel like for instance the Lystrosaurus or the Oviraptor, are those created by Biosyn now as well? We're gonna find out. Like those ones felt specific to collectors around the world who brought them into the black market. But now we learn
Well,
that the Atrociraptor is the main leading thing who we thought was that, just isn't that. So I'm
actually,
like,
now
yeah.
that we know the actual black market in Malta was Biosyn's.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say. So like, oh bro, okay,
I
it
guess,
really made
but
me
like the
like,
people running it didn't really know. They were just provided with stuff to sell.
yeah, space and secret storage to sell. So and
And
again, that makes
Santos
sense.
was going to take over the market.
Right, and that's one of the little things. That's just a personal thing. Like I thought Sayona was already in charge of it, and like she allowed like Biosyn to have a stake in it, but it's the other way around. And she was going to take charge of it, which would have been good to see. But yeah, obviously we know what happens to her in that. So oh my god, I'm just jumping all around. and then I will admit the biggest shock I had for a moment there, just for a moment, mate, was when we had re-seen the shot where Siona's getting arrested, right? And by Barry, and then again she proved what she's McQueen, bro. She has like a contingency for everything, bro, and she managed to
Blows up
like
the container.
blow up the freaking container, bro.
You
And
have
I thought she
Brooklyn and the
killed.
handler in the
I
background.
genuinely thought, bro, she killed Barry. I literally thought that.
Yeah, I guess in Dominion we didn't really properly see her get arrested.
Hell
Did
no,
we?
bro. We take off with Owen on the bike, bro, and we leave them, man. We don't know what happens after
Also,
that.
I'm pretty sure didn't in Dominion for
Mm.
a second they sit in an ambulance, and I'm pretty
At the
sure
end,
we see that same ambulance that the group gets in Malta when the Atrociraptor runs down it.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember. I remember only ambulances at the end of the movie. They're all sitting in something there, but no. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no. That's weirdly enough, that's the same. Dude, did you know, by the way, that's the same car that Brooklyn and Sayona drive. That's the same ambulance vehicle that they use in Camp Cretaceous. Did you know that? It's the same.
Yeah,
Like, it's the same friggin'
model.
Oh god. Yeah. Anyway.
That doesn't really
Um.
surprise me. It probably just saves
No, it doesn't.
money
You
there.
reuse
I don't
assets
think
or
that's like
whatever,
a
but I was just
lore
like,
thing. I think that's just them saving money on model.
oh, I'm sure it is. God. Anyway. Um. I love
The
how we're
streets
talking
of
so much
Malta
about.
going absolutely crazy, and
Yeah,
we
so I
actually
thought
get to see it.
I was actually so locked in at that point, Eric, man. I thought that she was actually going to get away. I thought she was actually going to get away. And she was going to like ride off into the sunset, and then we would have like free fandom space to next story or whatever until they wanted to be official with her again. But of course, no. Then bloody the handler comes out of nowhere and starts beating the shit out of her, and I was
I
not
was
happy. I was like,
I was
bro.
okay, honestly, that scene where they were chasing him and then the handlers like dodging all the other stuff, I was like, this is a weird chase scene, but it's kind of cool. I'm kind of vibing with
Engaging.
it.
It's kind of engaging, yeah. And then, bro, I'm
And
just
then she
saying.
uses the laser on her, and I think it was Red that bit her.
Mm.
And then she like
Yeah, no, she actually does bite her, yeah.
it was so funny. She was like, "To me, my X-Men," and all the other
Yeah.
Atrocitus. I'm like, like
Loyalty
what?
exposed.
So the same Atrociraptor, well, not the same Atrociraptor, an Atrociraptor that bit Brooklyn's arm off bites
Yeah.
her, probably not holding back, but her arm is strong enough. I don't think
Well,
the
I think
handler was human.
if you remember, Ghost was actually the one who bit her arm off, Brooklyn's arm off, and then Red was the one who bit the handler. Speaking of which, damn, Ghost got mollywopped, bro.
I was kind of sad then. I was like,
Yeah,
Ghost
a lot of people were.
in season 1, Ghost was putting the work in.
Yeah, he was a distinctive different one. Yeah, and it was
Ghost
just
was putting
wild.
work in. Ghost was always my favorite Atrociraptor. I thought the like pale pattern, like the albino kind of design was so cool because it was like
I know.
the first time we saw like I think they're considered genetic malfunctions or whatever for them
Yeah,
probably.
there's supposed to have been DNA samples collected, which weirdly enough, it makes more sense now. I guess this is the one benefit I can give it is that, like, I remember in the Dominion marketing and stuff like that, that Ghost was supposed to be pitched to be like created from DNA samples from male 3 Velociraptor, and the males were supposed to be part of Panthera's DNA, and then of course the Tiger ones and Gen 1's on Lost World. So like it makes more Biosin made them that they would have access to that, because otherwise how would the handlers and stuff all around the world have DNA access to that? So so I guess that's one thing that makes more sense.
It also shows that there are like kind of more unique. They are still kind of animals, and they do have like genetic variation like that. It is interesting.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting because the way that they put that in there, they've used existing raptor DNA because they didn't probably have enough of the Atrociraptor DNA to be able to create it. So they're not
That's
thoroughbreds
probably
or whatever
why
they
they
are.
look pretty much like Velociraptors, just
Pretty
like
well,
slightly
and which
bulkier.
again, I'm beyond past the point of talking about paleo curation, bro. I'm just like, bro, they are what they are. They look
We
like
did
this.
finally get some Dromaeosaur v Dromaeosaur action, which I think
Yeah.
was severely missing from the original. Like we saw the Pyroraptor tussle with the Atrociraptors, and I was like,
Yeah, that was actually
this
really
is
cool.
actually something that's rather exciting because we always see like big and small, and it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's kind of
And
whatever.
then you're always like, they're gonna jump on the Rex's back for 3 times, then get thrown off, like, and they do that in the first season. Remember?
Yeah, and I was kind of just like, all right, whatever. But then
Yeah.
it's like you see like that, and the Pyroraptor's like holding its own. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a
I'm
pretty good
surprised it didn't like.
Pyroraptor's pretty tough.
I don't remember exactly, but I don't know. I'm surprised it didn't like flap its like feathers a bit, trying to like do like a display intimidation thing, trying to make itself look bigger,
It like
trying to scare
jumped
them
on
off.
the fountain and thing. It was like,
Yeah, like spread all of its
it's
feathers
like
out, make itself look way bigger.
So I love the big dinosaur fights because of how destructive they can get. That's always interesting. But on the counter side of that, I always love it when they pit two smaller dinosaurs together and then they use because then they're actually capable of using the environment without just obliterating it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
because the Pyroraptor jumps on top of the fountain, right? If I
it
remember
jumps on
correctly,
top of a fountain and then it's like a T-Rex can't do that. It's just gonna step on the fountain and break it. Like
crush it.
which is like also interesting and compelling because it's like, okay, well, here's the destructive nature of these larger beings versus like something smaller where it's able to like shimmy in between alleyways and stuff,
Yeah.
which
So
is a little more
tell me
compelling.
this. So I love how we've already managed to talk almost like half an hour about half of the whole season, right? We haven't even talked about any of the campers, the actual main cast. We've just talked
Oh
about
yeah.
Toyota and Tyson. But before we do that as well, we'll get straight into that. But here's the other question. The last thing that really give me the gripes, right? And I want to talk about the things I like about this season as well from what I
Oh,
remember. But
very
bro,
much so.
they did Dodson so derpy and
He's such
dirty
a
in this one,
dweeb.
bro. I was
Bro,
like, bro,
he got bullied in high school. Like
bro, I was just like, what do you mean? Who is this? I mean, I get it. I get it. They're trying to portray him as like, like the overworked CEO type now. Like he's just too busy. He doesn't have pay enough attention. But here's the thing. This is Lou Dodson we're talking about, right? This is the guy who went out of his way to make sure that his tracks were covered during the whole Nedry debacle in the original Jurassic Park. And in
yeah.
this, he lets this girl who he does vaguely recognize, obviously as one of the Nublar Six, who because he met Kenji or whatever, but like
Yeah.
he lets this girl just go back to his little domicile thing there and take the files that like in Dominion, dude, he's
He just
literally
lays
ripping
them out.
servers. Yeah, he's literally ripping servers out of the walls, trying to erase his footprints and stuff like that, and any connection he has to the locusts. And he just lets this girl go back and grab these secret documents, fully expecting her just to bring it back. He literally says, "Thank you." I'm like, who? Who is this man? Who is this man? And what have you done
You
with
have
my
to just like
paranoid and
keep
murderous
crates of
Dodson?
the locusts around.
Yeah, and I'm just, oh god, they're just
That
like,
was
bro.
goofy.
I mean, well, the crates of the locust makes sense because they're feeding them to the dinosaurs. Like that makes more sense as to why they're there. Because you see it in Dominion, they're on like the metal stake thing. Like they're there to feed to the animals. But
It's true.
for me, bruv, I'm just. And by the way, I'm just gonna say it. Darius has something special connecting him to all baryonyxes, bro, in the series, bro. Like remember, he has
Absolutely.
those. He has those three in the friggin' original
No,
show in
speaking
season
of that,
2.
do you
Yeah,
think that Baryonyx was one of the original three?
it could
Well,
be.
two of
I
them are
could be.
dead.
I
Only
wouldn't
one
put
of
it.
them is left.
Yeah, I couldn't put it past it,
So,
man. At this point, yeah, you think it's okay. Well, the thing
okay,
is, you
so
see that.
I'm
I was just gonna
curious
say.
because this is something I want to touch on too. They did have the Demon Carno, which is different than Toro,
Yeah, I know.
apparently. I'm curious
Apparently.
if they're going to bring back Toro and have it be like team up with the Demon Carno.
I 100% do not believe so. I imagine Toro has either been sold off somewhere or has just died from like malnourished infection or something by this point, bro.
Well,
Like
Toro
well, I mean,
was
you watched me be
on
wrong, but
was Toro on Manticore Island?
he was, and look what happened to Big Edie. Big Edie got bloody moved. We don't even know what happened to Little Edie.
That's true.
Yeah, and they just moved like it's. And you remember what a hard work they made to make that it's like a little sanctuary for all of them and the three mysterious velociraptors. Which, by the way, apparently I think it's somehow been confirmed that those velociraptors you see in the cages in the end of the first season, those are the Manticore raptors apparently. And I'm
I
like, okay, sure, why not? Whatever, fine, okay, what? They're all just
Okay,
they're just
look.
rates.
The Allosaurus from Dominion has been proven to be the same Allosaurus in Chaos Series Season 1. I was right.
Yeah, vindication.
Uh, it somehow moved to North America to there within the same like span, even though it was like free at the end.
Yeah, and also here's the thing, right? Again, we know it's a kid's show, but bro, if all those dinosaurs start breaking out, bro, the Maltese government are not going to let them all just run around free, bro. They are literally going to hunt them down and shoot them all of them. They're probably killing
They're
them
gonna
all in the
start using
background,
drastic measures.
bro. Honestly, because even in Dominion, bro, you remember from Meccano, bro, they're literally tomping people on segways, bro. Like there's no way that they're going to let those things just stay in the city.
That was something that I was like, you have to like work around if you're telling a story like this. It's like dinosaurs are such a problem. Yeah, but what is a T-Rex going to do if we mount a heavy anti-tank
Exactly, and
machine gun on the back of a truck like we do for any war?
exactly, and like it's literally not there. You know what I mean? That's why they had to do the
It's
locust thing, bro. Because it's
it's
like
such
the dinosaurs, they must have realized it's like, dude, no, the dinosaurs, yeah, we set them up to be a problem, but they're not actually a problem.
it's such a depressing thought, but it's like they don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like they
Like
don't
they're just like
belong here in this world
it's
anymore.
just
Like we
kind
can
of like
handle them if we need to.
it's just a very inconvenient situation to be in, and
Yeah.
that's like the extent. It's like the Quetzalcoatlus on the Empire State Building. They're like, it's such a problem. It's like, yeah, they would just shoot that thing out of the sky instantly.
Yeah, they snipe it, bro. They just snipe
Hey,
that shit, bro.
watch King Kong. You see a giant monkey climbing a building, you
Yeah,
shoot
exactly.
it
What do you
down.
think? They're not going to send him
Like,
back to the island, bro. No, they're going to murder his ass. That's what we do
yeah,
best.
it's
That's
like,
because we're destructive
dude,
ass
there's two of
animals.
them nesting, bro. They're blowing that thing up. Like, they're
Mm.
just gonna put bullet holes. Like, it's like such a sad thought, but it's like, yeah,
I mean, that's sadly that's what you do. We keep our little
it's
fragile
unrealistic.
spot at the top of the food chain that we like to think we're at, and that's what would happen. Which
That's why,
reminds me that sorry, I just thought of something actually. So that reminds me as well, bro. What happens then to all them dinosaurs that they lure into the freaking catacombs and then they just do a U-turn on and get out of there? Like, what happened to all of them? They just left them down there in the dark. What happened? I have so many questions, bro.
gone.
Bro, just got into the void.
They just left. They don't. They
Just
despawn.
went to the delete room.
They despawn. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
They show
despawn.
up next season or something. Don't worry about it.
I get it, guys. I want to stress. I like this show a lot. I
Yeah,
love it.
there's
And in
a
fact,
there's a apparently a ski resort right on like the same mountain on the other
yeah, like
side of
over the other side of
Biosyn
the
Valley.
mountain.
It's like
Uh,
what?
But again, and again, which is even wilder because again, we're led to believe that the what is it
Biosyn some
the
secret.
Viocin Valley, thank you, is supposed to be like a natural seclusion when nothing can get out. But obviously, the Pyroraptor did because again, that's what they
The
do.
Pyroraptor didn't get out. It got in. Which if it can
Well,
get,
they
which
sent him. They
I
sent him
guess
to retrieve it, so I assume it's because they made him and stuff like that, and then like it managed to get out, and they can't have anyone known that they made a new dinosaur. I assume.
so. Maybe we don't really know much about how and why the Pyroraptor is out and free. It could have been from from like a market nearby, and it just because apparently it's been living in North Italy enough to have like legend and speculation
Yeah,
around it.
like little rumors and stuff about it. Which again, it just shocks me that these characters have
There
no
was
idea that there are no
okay,
dinosaurs there.
they set something up
Mm.
for execution that would have been so cool to show like this drastic difference. I think Gia, whatever her name was,
Gia.
Gia, yeah,
Oh,
the
no, is it Gia?
Italian
I don't
Ben's
know.
girlfriend is real.
She's real. Told
Is
everybody.
she's like, oh, it's probably a wolf. How cool would it have been if they like pulled up on the side of the road and they're like, what is, since apparently they can spot a feather from like 30 yards, they just like look out and it's just like a wolf carcass and they're like, what could kill a
Yeah,
wolf? And that's when the
yeah.
Pyroraptor like pounces on the car.
I will say
Like,
it was fun. It was a bit of fun, I must admit, with Darius and Kenji seeing like the little homage to JP3, where like the little raptor silhouette runs in front of the car, just like it does
oh
in the
yeah,
windows. That was fun. I'll give him that. But
absolutely.
yeah. So finally, speaking of which, so yeah, again, so just to finish off with Dodson, yeah, the man, I'm just like he's just smiling in the background the whole time, bro. Of like
His
when
character,
Soyona's like threatening the
you could have
handler.
replaced his character with like a secretary, and it would have
Well,
been
just no, just have him. Well, that's the other thing. You're right because like I remember our friend Anson texted me and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know they hadn't met." I'm like, "Yeah, no, bro, they don't meet, bro, through like association, bro. Like they only know each other through like reputation. They haven't like met face to face." And I'm just like,
I took that
"Yeah."
in a
So
different light. He was like, "It's so fine. It's so nice to finally meet you in person." Just like
yeah,
they've been calling.
yeah. Like, well, again, that part makes sense to me, but it's just like, and then on top of that, like, Dodson just doesn't like. Again, this man is one of the owner of like one of the biggest companies in the world, and he just doesn't pay Sayona. Like this whole time, he keeps stuffing her around. And he doesn't give her the money for the last job that he did, and he gets her to do another job. And I'm like, Dodson, what are you doing,
Dog,
man,
the dog, dude.
bro?
You're dealing with like the mafia too.
I guess you could say it's him having like a bit of a lesson learned from Dennis Nedry back in the '90s when he paid him $750,000 in advance, and then like he died, and then they never got the embryos and stuff. I guess, but like even still, I'm like, it's not like. And again, and then another
Well, you
little
still
personal
got the
thing.
embryos.
Yeah, exactly. And so here's another little thing, right? And this is just a personal thing for me, but it would have made more sense for it to happen, right? So in my original, I was going to write for Siona's origin. By the time we get to Dominion and everything, we're gonna have it that she can sense that there's a bit of a growing like disposition between dinosaurs in the future and stuff like that. So where it's like dinosaurs, yes, they're the hottest newest fad right now, but fads never last. So she wants to get out of the game. So what I was gonna have it be is that like in order for Dodson to clean up this mess of the locust that Wu promises he can do him, he gives out like a bounty of $500 million to find this baby raptor and another $500 million to capture Maisie, right? So I figured, like, with a bounty like that, he gives it to Siona first, but then if she can't do the deal, like, that they goes open market, right? And then the whole world, that's why the whole world's looking for Maisie so much and stuff like that, right? Because this massive underground bounty. But then in the show, they do it completely different. Like, he's just like, oh, I have another job for you. I need you to find this girl and stuff like that. I'm like, Dodson, this is a massive fuck up on your part, bro, that you created these locusts,
she's
bro.
just like, yeah, I got a guy.
Yeah, and
That makes sense
I'm just like, bro, a little bit of expediency here, Dodson. Like, offer this woman like nearly $1 billion if you can get all these things, and then she can get out of the dino game. You get your Maisie girl and stuff like that in the movie. Because remember, he literally says, Eric, in the movie, he's talking to Wu. He's like, yeah, it cost me a fortune. Like, he literally said that. And then at the start of the movie, we see that at the start of Dominion, they see that Biosyn's stocks have gone up to $31 billion. And
yeah.
at the end of the movie, he literally says money is cheap these days. So it's not like he cares, Eric. I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind here, bro. It's not like he cares, bro. Like, do something like that. Make this feel...
No, he's too busy training
texting or whatever the fuck he's doing on his phone. He doesn't even notice a TV's been ripped off the wall, bro. Like, seriously, dude, if there was a Rex in front of him, he wouldn't even notice it was there, bro. I swear to you. Ugh, does my head in. Does my head in. I'm sorry. But again,
there was a
that's the
dinosaur
end of
that
all.
did him.
That's it, right? Like, okay, look, that's the end of all of my bloody ramblings of problems I have. Okay, so it's just a 5.
So to the training the dinosaur things, I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah.
Because it is very compelling and it's very interesting to be like, because it was like really cool for like a moment.
Oh, in Jurassic World, it was like
Carnotaurus bursts out. It's like oh crap, they can train other dinosaurs. But then you're like, okay, well, the raptors are like the super intelligent.
Yeah, they're meant to be the intelligent ones able to recognize.
You just basically took away like a huge chunk of that for
exactly. And the other thing for me is that, like, with that as well, with training bigger dinosaurs and stuff like that, it would have to be that bloody chip brain tech shit from season 5 of Camp Cretaceous. It would have to be, because you're not gonna. How are you gonna make a Rex recognize authority from something that's smaller than it? Like, you're not.
Laser. From the
laser, and again, that makes sense because it's like the whistle doesn't work on on those animals. Like, it has to be like the laser or something.
It didn't work on the Toro, Demon Toro.
Yeah. Toro's older cousin.
She was like, oh. I also thought if she did that, and then he was like, oh, this again.
I laughed at that. But I was so shocked. I was so laughed that she just got nommed immediately, bro. I was like, feel so good because I kind of hate that character. Like, I love her, like, but I hate her like, so I was
the
just
Demon
shocked,
Toro did a circle around the weird thing for a dramatic reveal.
Oh, bro, I'm just like,
dude,
yeah.
The timing there is weird because, like, okay, Brooklyn and Santos are there next to the drone. The handler's dealt with.
Yeah.
The other campers got like, don't get there until like 5 minutes after.
Yeah.
Dude, she should have just left by that time.
Bro, I honestly was like,
grabbed Brooklyn, tossed her in there, and been like, all right, we gotta go.
Absolutely, bro. I still remember, bro. Thank God you weren't doing a reaction with me, bro, to season 3, bro, because I was screaming at the screen. I'm like, what are you waiting for? Leave her!
Brooklyn wasn't really even like stalling her. She was kind of like just sitting there quivering, afraid. I'm like,
I was just like, and bro, I was literally doing the reverse Lex Murphy, bro. I was like, she's like, she left us. I was like, leave her, leave.
I'm like,
you're gonna be caught. She's fucking you.
I did like it to where they like the whole stalling was with the laser.
Oh, I guess
that made sense, but like the campers didn't arrive soon enough for it to make sense.
Actually, you're right. Okay, here's the thing. I will talk about what my favorite part of this whole season right now. I think actually, and this part, it's actually something very different that I don't think I'd actually seen in a Jurassic Park movie before. I mean, minus, I guess, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but really that was a different setup. The part that shocked me the most, right, that I was just like, I sat in my seat, Eric, was the moment where that investigative reporter fellow is down with Brooklyn. I think his name's I can't remember his name. You watched it
I
last
don't
night.
remember, man.
Damn it.
Some random thing.
On your homework, something with a D. Anyway, so fella is down the Velociraptor cages, and then when Soyona shows up, or I think it's the handler shows up, or one of them, Brooklyn just throws his ass in the cage with
Yeah.
Ghost.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the coolest, scariest shit I had actually seen. I was literally stunned for like a whole 30 seconds. I was like, Brooklyn, I can't believe you just did that. Like you threw him in, and it's so cool. It was actually so cool. That part actually really got me. I was like, bro, this is scary. This is different, and like this is new. I feel the terror. I was holding my breath the whole time, man. Like that was awesome. I like that, and to show the restraint that Ghost had, dude. When it like pans back over the dude's shoulder, and it's just there, inches away, not millimeter, it's just inches away, bro. Just looking at him. Oh, bro. Nah, I was like, nah, that was something different.
Like she like puts her hand in the cage and he's like
Yeah.
just like right, and you see the like
like the saliva and shit, bro, I think it was.
At the top of his foot.
Bro. You can tell like Red wants to rip this dude apart, but he can't.
It was Ghost, wasn't it?
So good. Yeah, Ghost. Sorry, Ghost.
I think so.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro, it was so scary. Like that was the first time I'd felt actual fear for someone in one of these movies and shows and stuff in a long time. I must admit.
And he's like,
and I was like, bro.
Out.
And again, I know it's because like I felt fear for this dude because I'm like, brother, you are not a main character. I do not recall your ass in Dominion. I don't know what's gonna happen to you, bro. It's gonna be something terrible.
Like, dog, you do not matter, bro. You
bro,
do not. You are cannon fodder.
You're generic ass Cap, bro.
Mercenary from Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah. Nah, bro, it was wild, honestly. So no, that was absolutely my favorite part. I think it was, and only because like I couldn't believe like the slow psychological change that Brooklyn had went through to be able to do that to the dude. And then, like you say, when her friends show up, like, and it was all just a ploy and a bluff, but like she grabs the laser and freaking holds it at her mates. I was like, bro, that. Oh, I love that. It's really good.
They're all arguing over whether they should go save Brooklyn or not. Like they're not all.
Okay, yeah. So we should probably actually talk about the characters. Yeah. So the actual campus. So they crash land, and that's the whole thing. And it's so funny because Darius is just spilling everything over to Barry at the start of the season. It's like, hey, yeah, we did this and this and this, and Darius and Kenji's like, shh, don't tell him. So that's all fun. How did you feel about all the campers this season?
I felt like they were a lot more human.
Oh yeah.
You can kind of see some of the levels of like what is it? The stages of depression or whatever, of acceptance or I forget what it's called. The 5 stages of grief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like Kenji was at like a point where he was like, you can kind of make out some of the things where he's like, last season he was like going crazy and like, all right, that's it. If I die, I die. And it was like, straight up boxing with Atrociraptors and jumping headfirst into whatever. And then like, of course, he's mad at Ben, which kind of goes away very abruptly.
Well, actually, no. Remember, he does. If I remember correctly, he keeps angry at him until I think at least a few episodes. I think it's like 3 episodes or something like that. Like before they all take off and split on their different directions. So I have to ask this question: how did you feel about the surprising results as to who wanted to go after Brooklyn and who didn't? So I'm talking more Yaz and Sammy specifically.
Okay, yeah. Kenji made sense. I'll go through the ones that are easier to answer, in my opinion.
Kenji's been such a downer this show, bro. Like, I get it.
Like his girlfriend has basically been lying about being dead, in like
yeah.
That it's like okay, yeah, that would psychologically mess a lot of almost anybody up. And be like, yeah, I don't really want to talk to her either. It's like, all right. Yeah. Ben obviously made sense. He was in communication the whole time.
Well, not the whole time.
Well, not the whole time, but he was the one that knew about her.
He was the one basically trying to instigate the whole thing. Yeah, he's the one that came to Darius at the beginning of the show. Was like, hey, something was up here. So it makes sense he was never not in. So
yeah, and then Darius kind of doing the like, I don't know if we should help her. That surprised me.
He was on the fence. Yeah,
I was because like I saw it several times where it was like Yaz and Sammy arguing, and he was like, what dinosaur could this be? Your Tyrannus finally got a mention. Yes, let's see one. Show it. Let's show some not famous dinosaurs. Yeah.
To be fair,
But
that's
like
technically only
he
an
was kind
evolution
of on the
theory.
fence,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Yeah, Darius is," and he was like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
And
So
then
I
he was
must.
like,
Hmm.
kind of did a 180. He was like, "I love her," and it's like, all right, well, yeah, I kind of figured you'd be.
Well, actually, did he say that? I remember he had a little brokey about it with Kenji, right? Like as to what he should do. But really, he's dialing it right back. Like I know. So here's the thing: I have people that I talk to that are hardcore against the idea of, I think they call it Dairylin or something like that. Like of those two characters getting together. I look, mate. Look, for me, they're all adults now. The youngest of them all is 18. They're all allowed to make their own decisions now. I reckon if they can make it feel compelling enough, then I reckon do it. But someone pointed out to me, they're like, "Bro, can you imagine how awkward the dinner dates are gonna be now?" Like, because remember, Darius and Kenji, they used to live together for a while there,
Well,
and
they've
if
worked past it. They've clearly
yeah,
worked past it.
oh,
Which
I
is
understand, but I mean, like
fine.
when in the future, like say if Darius and Brooklyn do end up getting together, right, and then Kenji's obviously coming over for like family
That
dinner or
will be
whatever.
the compelling part.
Bro, I would
Of
love
the-
to see that dinner conversation, bro. Like they're there with Darius's family, his mom and his brother and stuff, and they're all around the dinner table, and like she had
It's just like
probably come over
silent.
before with Kenji and stuff like that, and yeah, she was with Kenji, but now she's with Darius. Oh, bro, that'd be crazy. That'd be wild.
I think Darius is going to be the link to like either get them back together or like kind of reunite those two as
So here's
friends
the
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, that's the thing,
That's
right? So
clearly
here's the
how
thing,
they're building
people.
that up.
Those same friends I'm speaking of, who will not be named, but you know who you are. They literally still think that by the end of season 4, Kenji and Brooklyn are gonna get back together. Bro, this whole series, this whole second series, like saying that like nah, this isn't working, and like
I don't know about that.
things aren't ever going to be the same. And yeah, sure, like they cross continents for each other and stuff like that, but it's not like, it wasn't like purely romantic and stuff like that. They only
Kenji's
found out
not
she was alive
crossing the
by the end of it.
continent for Brooklyn,
No,
though.
none of them even knew she was alive till the end of season 2.
He's doing it for the other camp
Yeah,
people.
the other guys. Yeah, he's doing it for his
I
for his.
felt Sammy and Yaz should have been more switched.
Actually, that's what made this so interesting for me, right? Because I literally, if you had asked me for the season, like who on that side would have to go after Brooklyn, I would have told you Sammy and Harpy. I would have told you
Yeah.
Sammy and Harpy because
Because
she's
her
the
whole
nice,
thing was
sweet,
family.
sympathetic one.
Yaz was kind of right. Be like, your whole thing is family. Like,
I'm
you should go
so
save her.
surprised that Yaz, of all people, did not take her on the other side. I'm so shocked that Yaz was like, she's like, no, she might need our help and stuff like that. I'm like, really, you? The girl who was ready to like be like, nah, hey, as soon as we get rescued off this island, none of us are going to see each other again. Like, you were ready to drop
Yeah.
them at any point. I don't know. It was so interestingly done for me. And then Sammy, bro. Oh, let's talk about Sammy for a minute. So yeah, here's the thing. Okay, for one, I'm heartbroken, right? Because like I like Sammy and Yaz being a couple together, and now they're broken up, which I
Yeah.
was like, dude, that breaks my heart because like that showed so many like young people around the world that like it's okay to not love who you're told to love. So I get that, but now that they're broken up, the thing that kind of gets me is that like it was actually the reasoning behind, right? I thought, and this whole series, bro, I had been theorizing that the reason Sammy doesn't talk to her parents anymore was because that they thought that when she got off the island and Yaz was her girlfriend and stuff like that, that it was only going to be a phase, it wasn't going to last. But then it
Yeah.
did last, and then when Yaz moved away, her family don't talk to her anymore because of her choices in partnership. I think that could have been a really interesting topic to go over. But then it turned out that yeah, they had disagreed on the way that they should run the farm, and sorry, the ranch, and that yeah, that now they
Like,
just don't speak
eh,
about it anymore. I'm like, that feels a lot less of an interesting direction to go from that, and like something that doesn't seem as big, you know?
yeah. But I can see why they also didn't tackle that
Yeah,
topic.
they didn't want to tackle that conversation because it's a very tricky conversation to have with people whose general audience are around 4 to 9. So yeah,
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a little, we'll avoid that topic for a little bit.
yeah, of course.
But like, I don't know. I still think that Kenji made sense. Ben
Yeah.
obviously makes sense. Gia, whatever her name was. Of
Mm.
course, she was like, "Yeah, I should stay." It's like, all right, I didn't expect her to really
No,
stay.
she made the most compelling point. She's like, "Look, Ben, you're the brave one," and that was fun and
I
kind of
like
sweet to hear. But
Cherish.
Ben is like, it was like, "Girl, if you had known Ben back in Camp Cretaceous, bro," whew, uh, but I was like, "No, it makes sense." She's like,
Yeah,
"No, I like to
that
sit
was.
down and
They were
discover
like,
things."
"Didn't you
That
eat
makes sense.
grubs back on Nublar?" He was like, "Yeah, they weren't the size of dogs or whatever." It's like, got a point. Bro makes
Yeah, no,
valid
I love
argument.
that. That was a fun little moment there. But
That
yeah,
and they I don't know if you caught it. It was such a throwaway line, but he was reading the news reports when they were getting ready to leave or whatever, and he said Stiggy's destroyed Carnival in U.S. Way to go, girls! They had a reference back to Bobby Newblar from season 1.
That's crazy.
I was like,
I definitely missed that.
Back when I was making jokes, I'm like, Bobby Newblar is secretly running it all. They still have reference. I'm like,
you know what you're gonna have to do, right?
Thing.
You know what you're gonna have to do now, Eric, right? You're gonna have to make your sequel book be about Bobby Newblar rising to power after Siona's void, after Dominion, after the void in her power vacuum.
But it's like they had so many random like Easter eggs and things like that. The Pyroraptor runs all the way back through the mountains back to the valley, which is probably why it's in that snowy part at the beginning of Dominion, will be my guess, because it's running into the valley instead of being transported in, which is also interesting and explains why it's there.
Oh gosh.
So maybe they might. This might actually be a season where they do get like run into Owen Grady and Claire Dearing and Alan.
You know what I reckon is going to happen? I reckon, if I had to make a prediction, I reckon that obviously the last season is going to take place entirely inside of Bison Valley. Yes, we're going to see the Giga and Therizinosaurus, etc., and so forth, yada yada. You know what I reckon?
Okay, we're not going to see Rexy, but we're going to see Buck and Doe.
I think. Actually, that would be even cooler. I didn't think about that. Like, I thought we were going
to. They're there. Canonically, they're there.
Yeah. No, you're right. Actually, that's interesting. I thought we were going to see Rexy, because obviously there's a long bits of time between her appearances in the movie, like when she has the tussle with the Giga. Dude, you know what's going to happen, right? We're literally going to realize that, like, we see that same fight with the Giga and the Rex fighting over the deer from another perspective, another giant log nearby. And we're going to be like, Owen and Kayla, they're over on that log over there. They're just there, bro. Go talk to them.
Like, literally everybody is like right over on the other
side. Bro. It's just like with this season with the deal and Siona's doing the deal and stuff, bro. They're inside the truck, bro. Now every time I watch Dominion, like, I see the real live actress and stuff, I'll be like, oh, Brooklyn's in the back there. She's in the back of that van.
That or the Mosasaurus scene from Camp Cretaceous.
Oh, bro.
You're like, camera?
Yeah, like you're following from Fallen Kingdom. It does the big jump up. I'm like, oh, those kids are over there watching that.
Oh, yeah, that's
great. So the thing is, like, I've read a lot of people really don't like it when they try to include themselves into the movies like that. I'm like, dude, I think that's extra fun, dude. That's like extra sauce.
I think it draws more into the canon and you can place it on the timeline a little easier. I do like that they are trying to keep their distance from the original cast.
Yeah, they don't directly muck in with it. That's why they're able to do with, like, Barry, because he was a secondary kind of minor character. And, like, they're able to expand upon that a little bit more.
Even that, he doesn't even play that big of a role.
No, exactly. That's why, you're able to expand upon that. That's what, like, essentially, that's what the essence of being a good fan writer is. Like, you're able to take existing elements and expand upon them.
Honestly, the biggest character that they've interacted with has been Soyona Santos.
Oh, easily. And again, I love that I get to live in a world where that has happened, because, oh my god, that's just a personal thing for me. Anyway, so, and Eric, my boy, I have some questions here, totally original questions that I want to fire your way, just to sort of wrap up our thoughts on season 3 of Chaos Theory. Yeah, so, first one here, right? So, which of these characters, right, really stood out to you this season, right? And what about their journey really kind of grabbed you and hooked you in?
Which of the characters?
Yeah, so let's think. So you got Sione, you got Brooklyn, you got Yaj, you got Sammy, Ben, Gia, Kenji, and even little baby. We haven't even talked about it yet. Little baby Smoothie.
No. Why did they call him Smoothie? They sped him up to be named Speckle.
Look, I think Speckles would have worked too, but Smoothie technically makes sense because it's the juxtaposed to being bumpy, because you're smooth and bumpy. So, and again, it's the asymmetry seems to have fixed itself. So that makes sense.
We're going to see Bumpy again, of course.
Bro, I've got to point this out. I think I've already pointed this out to you once before. I think I pointed it out to the girls I speak to sometimes about when we do this podcast, bro. But, like, bro, if Bumpy's in the Bison Valley, bro, you know what that means, right? And if we're taking little Smoothie back over to Bumpy in the Bison Valley, right? You know what that's gonna mean, right?
That the Giga.
Nah, brother, man. The Giga will be dead. The Giga will be dead, obviously. Here's the thing: you take any animals up there to the Biosin Dolomites sanctuary, right? By the time Rebirth comes around 5 years' time, bro, they're all dead. They're all dead up in there, bro. Which means we're taking cute, brand new little baby Smoothie up to a place where it's gonna live 5 years and it's gonna die.
That'll be fun
Oh,
to see Bumpy and Ben and what is his name? Kenji's reaction.
yeah, I would love to see a bit of that after what happens with that. That's what I mean. But
Let's
again,
handle
it's
the
like,
concept of death.
yeah, exactly. And here's the thing: is like, you can't have that thing living in the backyard like they did with Bumpy and the ranch. You can't do that.
Yeah, they don't own a ranch.
No, no. So, well, I mean, Sammy does, but again, like, even still, look at how much trouble Bumpy was causing there. You gonna have another one there? Nah, definitely not.
Yeah. Well, the other
Right.
guy's dead, so
Well, you're not wrong.
you don't really gotta worry about that.
Take,
you don't, have,
take,
you don't
take
gotta
his
worry about that
property.
much. So, but I think obviously I feel Brooklyn had the most compelling just because of how her character was structured. But I
Yeah.
feel like that's a cop out answer because they obviously
Mm.
built her to be the most compelling because of her duality
Situation that she's in,
between
yeah.
dark and light.
Mm. And the
But
fact she gets a little robot arm this season, she gets a little robot arm, and they explain actually how they use it.
yeah, I do I like that too.
Which
But
is interesting because, of course, Kristen Kelly, who plays her, has a very similar sort of prosthetic in real life, and it kind of explained to me how they actually go about using that. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
I feel like I'm always partial to Darius and his situation
Mm.
as like the
Interesting.
dino nerd. I feel
Oh,
like Ben was kind of poorly executed.
I think this was Ben's biggest season of shine, bro, because
Oh, very much so.
he was doing like pull ups
But
in front of his lady, bro. Honestly,
yeah,
man, I
it
quite
was his
enjoyed all
biggest
that.
season to shine, but like his relationship with Kenji felt very like shoved in the background as soon as he reached there. He kind of stopped caring,
Well, it's
in my
because he's got his
opinion.
girlfriend there, bro. Like, I mean, what are you gonna be worried about all this beef you got with this guy when like your lovely Italian lady showed up?
But like Kenji wouldn't instantly. I feel okay. I'm tied. Kenji had a lot of character growth.
True.
And so did Darius. I feel like Yaz and Sammy were kind of their character growth was just like relationship drama, and that was the extent
Well,
of
I
it.
mean that's a big thing because it's
Of
been building
course.
for a while. It's definitely been building up for a while between them, and like, yeah, to have that finally have that conversation between the two of them, like I said, it definitely kind of broke my heart to realize that it's not really going anywhere. And I saw someone point out on Twitter like that the last time that they were actually together nearby was like when Sammy was looking through the window or through the door or something like that, and then Yaz is literally just like, "Oh, tell her that I wish her well" and stuff. And I'm like, "Bro, that's it? You're not gonna see each other again
Yeah.
after that,
Well, no,
theoretically?"
they will.
Well, we will because we know what's going to happen with them and how they're there. But
Because
like,
what?
yeah, interesting game. Oh, super, super,
You
super
can't
side
separate
point thing.
them. It's not.
Yeah, I just realized super side point by the way. So it turns out those helicopters that Biosin flies, they're flown remotely, which is interesting and cool. I like that.
Why was Kayla driving one?
Yeah, I guess because she took over the manual part of it, I suppose. But that one that was flying Grant
I
and
think they
Ramsey and all them
showed
in.
that in Dominion where she had to like
Yeah,
over to
because
manually fly it.
yeah, and like I remember that the one that flew Grant and them in. It never occurred to me, but yeah, that's a remote controlled piloted drone, and I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Those
I
are
like
those,
that.
of course, Biosin has driverless cars.
Oh, absolutely. Why wouldn't they? You know, like it literally makes more sense. I mean, they have invisible fences and shit, bro. I mean, why wouldn't they? Again, bro, they
No,
burn through Biosyn too
no.
quick, man.
The driverless car is still stupid because you're transporting a dangerous animal. You're not gonna have any security.
I mean,
No,
technically, bro,
no.
that makes the best case scenario. You know, like you don't have any people there, no one can get hurt. I mean, me.
Yeah, okay. And the dinosaur breaks out. You have no one there immediately to try to take care of it.
Well, that's if I remember correctly. Again, it's been a couple of months since I watched it, but like that's literally what happens with the Pyroraptor, isn't it? Because no one's driving the jeep, the van, and yeah, then
It makes
technically
a
no one got
strong
hurt.
case to have someone there with a gun.
They always end up getting eaten, though. You know that. They always get eaten.
Yeah, but
Lawsuits, bro.
so I think I'm tied between Darius and Kenji.
All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, thank goodness I have 4 other questions. So, let me just think about this. So, yeah, all right. So here's the thing. So, obviously, since this show is now made for kids that are going into their like late teens and stuff like that, do you think it's done a really good job sort of shifting the tone to a more darker, sort of more mature tone for this season? Like I said, we said before with like the Raptors pushing that guy into the Raptor pen with him, and like
He's
the
in the
Carnotaurus
nicest
just
source where
nobbing
she's about to like torture him.
Oh yeah, bro. I
Had
thought
to,
he was
bite
getting
his
ripped
arm
apart.
off. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, Brooklyn.
yeah. But do you
It
think that the season, I guess, has held up that sort of darker tone that they've had, or do you think it became a little bit more like not lighthearted, but like was kind of more
definitely
neutral?
not lighthearted, but
No.
I feel like it does pick up a darker tone with a
Mm.
lot more heavier topics that they are addressing, with like the ideas of like betrayal and
Yeah.
like kind of losing yourself in the job a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually.
Because like
Yeah,
there were several times where like Brooklyn was holding his arm and she like kind of had to snap herself out of it, or
that's
like
true.
she found herself pointing the laser
Holding
at
the
that
remote and
guy.
stuff. Yeah, the
And
laser and
she's like,
shit, bro. Yeah, that
"Oh
was cool.
crap!" Like it's like, yeah, she kind of like was because they made a joke about her being a sleeper agent.
Mm.
She was slowly becoming one.
Mm. Makes sense to me. And did
But
you like the, I suppose the overall setting of going back to Malta? I suppose so. Like
oh, very much so.
the
Very. I'm
catacombs and
so
stuff.
glad we got to see more of that. And
Yeah.
it was so funny. We finally got more Ceratosaurus being in danger, but then they immediately had it be bullied by an Allosaur. Kind of comedical there,
Is
but then they were like, the split second where Darius froze, and then he kind of seemed to remember. He's like, "Oh wait, Brooklyn's alive, and you didn't do this."
yeah,
So he
you
was
didn't actually do
able
this
to
kind of
like
thing. Like
jerk
just
himself
that
back into.
little moment, yeah, that little connection between them again. I was like, ah, it's fun. That's fun because this
Kind of
whole
like
series,
looked at
like,
him. I was like,
yeah, he
mutual
set out on a
respect?
vendetta at the start of the show to
Question
hunt
mark?
down that Allosaurus, bro. And then yeah, it's interesting, isn't
I
it?
was like, I was like, mutual respect? Question mark? It was like the
Yeah,
Allosaurus was like nodding at him. I'm like, it's a
the
little
train to
goofy.
Todd. Oh god.
It saved
Um,
you, and you're just like, yeah,
Yeah, I think Sayona even put it
you did your
herself
work.
best. Like when they first showed up to the catacombs, she's like, "Oh, bastardizing a historical site for their own benefits. How very Biosyn." So, like, I think they did really well of showing kind of like Biosyn's reach, I guess you would say, like into all aspects of the market. Which, hey, that's interesting to me. One day when I have my kids, I'll be able to explain to them how the intricacies of dinosaur smuggling works. Through this show.
Well, if Colossal keeps doing it, maybe you'll be able to explain it in the real world too.
Oh, bro. Honestly, don't even
We're
tease,
just starting
bro.
with
Like, I mean,
direwolf.
everybody's like, "Oh, don't do it." I'm just like, "Yeah, just fucking do it, bro. Just do it. Like, who
You do
cares,
it right.
man? Just
When
who
do it right.
cares? Put them on an island.
Keep them on an
Just do
island.
it. Just do it fine." Anyway, so yeah, so we got that. And then my next question for you was going to be like, if some characters like they feel like in the show they're kind of struggling with like, as you said, like who they are and like kind of where they fit between like relationships and purpose as to where they're going to go. So which one of those moments kind of hit home the most for you? Like between maybe Sammy's breakup or Brooklyn realizing she lost herself, Kenji's learning that he's got like one last thing in life that he has to learn how to love, or Darius figuring out
That
where to
was a
go.
heavy top.
Yeah.
There were several times where I was like, Kenji, are you gonna off yourself, dude? Like,
Yeah, bro, honestly,
holy
I remember.
crap. He was like holding Smoothie, and he's like,
Yeah.
yes, it's pretty much the last thing I got. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's why he freaked out
whoa,
so much when we went outside.
therapist, dog.
Nah, he has got money now. He has got money to do it.
I'm like, dude, go talk to someone. Like, professional help, my guy.
Oh, that was brilliant. I love that. That's so funny.
That was honestly some heavy topic right there.
Well, easily. Yeah, and then like even to Ben, like realizing that like yeah, like obviously like he's trying to like be the man that he wants to be for Gia, and then even Gia surprising us that she wants to become a paleontologist in this day and age, bro, when you have dinosaurs running around. Like, what do you mean? Ah,
Someone still needs to
oh
dig up the
god.
dinosaurs from the
I
DNA.
mean I get it, but like okay, right, and then fourth question here. Sorry. Yeah, the character of Gia. How did you feel about her when we first met her, and down to
She's
everything until we lost her
very abruptly introduced.
abruptly?
I feel because it's like what? It's still in episode 1 that she's introduced, isn't
I
it?
think it's at the end of episode 1, but that's only because remember that we've been built to her since season 1. Like when Ben first says, "I do have a girlfriend. She lives in
I
Europe."
think it's season 2, not season 2, episode 2 that she's introduced.
I think he mentions her though in season 1. I think it's episode 4 when like yeah when they got Sammy in the car with him. I think it's the first time
Yeah.
she's mentioned. So again, they've been dropping hints for us. So I don't know if it's exactly that she's been like.
I find it
Just
funny
like,
that they
here's the
were all poking
right?
fun at him though.
Oh, I love that. They were all taking little
Nona
shots
answers
at
the
him.
door, and Kenji's immediately like, "Scammer, old lady, scammer." I was like,
Oh, that's good. But
and
yeah,
then
how did
he
you
slams
like?
the door, and Ben's like, "You idiot."
Now, to expand a little bit upon that question, just to hopefully not throw anybody under the bus here, but a certain Jurassic Park YouTuber who we are loosely associated with sometimes let out a very triggering post about Gia perhaps a while back when the show first released, saying, and I quote, that Gia and Ben's relationship is the best relationship in all of Jurassic Park. It's not even close. How do you feel about the statement specifically?
I wouldn't say
Eric, would you agree about that?
definitely the most romance filled.
Yes, definitely the most
I
perhaps
will
chemistry
not
filled
argue that that is the most romance we have seen in a
because
couple.
I'll point this out to you just before you dig too deep into it. So you got to remember the only two other real relationships we have, because really here's the thing: we can't really count Malcolm and Sarah because you know. But here's the thing: the only other two examples we have is that you either have Dr. Ellen Grant and Ellie Sattler, two people that missed their opportunity years ago and now get together old and they're well out of their prime, or you have Claire and Owen, who on paper at least have
They're both
broken
hot
up on and off, have
movie stars.
kidnapped
That's why they're together.
a no-name child and now live in the woods with. So like we've now got the best two examples there for relationship wise. So I
Then you
think
have Kenji, Brooklyn, and then Sammy and Yaz.
who they worked again, Sammy and Yaz worked very well for a very long time, not only because of like the part of relationships that they represent,
You
but
have two
because
separate Kenji and Brooklyn ones though.
yeah. So
You have the like experience relationship where they're back on the mainland and they're trying to find some kind of peace, and then you have like the
yeah.
how do I put it, in the war zone version where it's like the in chaos or camp
They're
camp
they're
theory.
the dino trenches.
Pretty much. We do have
Oh,
a dinosaur war movie coming out.
oh fuck! Don't remind me. So, yeah. But how did you feel about a statement such as that? Like, do you believe that these two are the best quote unquote relationship wise characters we have in all of the franchise?
You say relationship, and I feel like that's a bad term. Because technically, any interaction between two characters is a relationship.
Well, all right, that's a fair point. All right, fine.
It's not a romantic relationship.
Romanticized entanglement.
In the department of actually showing romance, 100%.
Yeah, I think so.
I would
as well.
agree with that.
Honestly, again, they sold it on me when literally Ben was just trying. Like he had me like cringing up and laughing, enjoying myself when like he's trying to do like he's working out in front of her. She's literally laying on the couch looking at him like that.
Oh.
She's looking up like, oh, look at that bum man.
Looking at
like, yeah.
Sammy's kicking his arms and he looks over. He's
Yeah.
like, "You like this?" Just like, dog, you cornball.
I remember I had to actually explain that scene to one of my younger friends, and I was like, no, she's giving him the I want you eyes, and she's like, she's what? And I'm like, no, girl, look at him. Like he's too young to know what that means, but look at him.
I was like, they all have rooms. They were saying that Sammy and Yaz were sharing a room, and then she went to Nona's room because they broke up. You know, Ben and Gaio were sharing a room.
Oh, easily. Well, I mean, actually, no, bro. You remember, for one, like they're in their nana's house, but two, you remember Ben, Kenji's like laying with little Smoothie's egg on the bed, and then like later on that night, Darius and Ben come and stay in that room, and Ben sleeps on the floor like the camp kid that he is, like the bloody jungle boy that he is. He doesn't even stay in a bed.
Okay, yeah, but didn't they stay there 2 nights?
Well, I think they stayed there for about a week. I think, right? Something like that.
They stayed there for several nights. He didn't sleep on the
like
floor every night. We know that.
Exactly.
Let's be real.
I mean, we'll see. You gotta wait till Nana goes shopping for groceries or something, bro. You gotta send them all out.
Question: how big is Nona's house?
Bro, honestly,
what bedrooms does that lady have? What did she what did she do for work? Is that how the Italian house economy is? I might move to Italy.
Pasta maker for the last 50 years, bro.
Apparently.
Oh my god.
In the trenches in World War II or something. The Italian Revolution or something. Maybe that's where the
Right.
dad is. Maybe the dad's dead. Who knows? Dark thought.
So what? So what about this one here, right? So what do you think about like how Biosyn was kind of handled this season, right? And do you think it has anything like about big companies? Does it say anything really like about big companies and how much power they have? The fact that they were able to overreach into all aspects, even the criminal sort of aspects.
They definitely were built as a monopoly, which is why they couldn't have Biosyn located in America
Yeah.
easily, because we do technically have anti-monopoly laws here.
Oh, makes sense.
I'm not well versed in law, so I'm not going to be the
Not
one
either.
to. I'm no lawyer. Don't ask me about that. I did research for what I needed, and that was the extent. Like, I feel the way they were portrayed as some like Dominion showed them in the civil light.
Mm.
This is showing their underworld light.
Yeah.
And I feel that is a fair thing to have them be like this like weird, have this like shadow organization part of them
Mm.
shown.
Yeah. Because
That
yeah,
makes
as we know from the lovely game Jurassic World Evolution 2's DLC, Dodson's entire philosophy around what he's wanting to do with Biosyn these days is that he wants to leave InGen in the dust. That's why he's making bigger dinosaurs, more accurate dinosaurs, and he's trying to show that he has better tech and he can control everything and use it as a business. Which again, I can get behind, if only the fact that like they didn't start like creating a plague of locusts and everything like that. But even still, like I
that was
understand.
given. That was
Well,
good.
again, the idea, remember, as you know, Hexapod Allies, it was supposed to be a medical breakthrough for crops and stuff. It was supposed to spread disease-freeing genes to crops, which, like, sounds incredible, but of course it didn't work, so blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, yeah, no, Biosyn's doing pretty good, as we know. Again, I just think they burned through Biosyn way too quick. They could have done an entire trilogy with Biosyn as, like, the lead genetics company out there now, But instead it's just one movie.
Yeah.
It had the coolest like setting and stuff. It had the coolest like creatures to me, but All right, so big question. Right? Big question. So if you could help shape the next season yourself, what would you love to explore more? What kind of theme, characters, or any loose ends?
I will say this real quick about Biosyn. The location is literally perfect.
Oh, I know. Oh, it
Because
was.
focusing on America, because I assume the American audience is probably one of the biggest sellers for the Jurassic
Oh,
community, which is
easily.
why. And then to get around all the other ones, they had them on the island, but you run out of excuses for them to send them back to the island.
100%, right? 100%.
But
That's why,
you can
like,
really the mountains there, they're in Europe, obviously.
yeah.
But Europe's connected to Asia, which you
Mm,
could easily have connections with Africa, and then
mm.
down all the way to India, and then you have those islands, which can get you down to Australia. That's like 4 continents right
Oh,
there.
absolutely. Yeah, and God. You make me think too much now. All right. So, yeah. So no, Biosyn. As I say again, bro. I don't know. I personally love Biosyn a lot. And again, if I was in the Jurassic universe, I'd absolutely be working for Biosyn. No hesitation, bro. Like I don't care. I don't care what people would say. I'd be there for Biosyn, bro. Because I'm more about what Dodson's doing with that company than I was ever with like InGen and Maserati Global. But yeah, no, as I say, if you could help shape the next season, like what kind of things would you like to explore? Would you
So
like themes, characters, or loose ends you want to tie up?
obviously, they're going to Biosyn Valley. They're going to meet
Yep.
back up. Obviously, they're going to show off dinosaurs and Biosyn. We're going to re-meet Bumpy. I would love to see Toro come back and there be some kind of
Mm.
rematch between Bumpy and Ben and Toro.
I thought
That
about
would
that
be
actually back in
interesting.
first season, bro. I thought, bro, I'd love to see like full man-sized Tarzan, little Jungle Boy going up against Toro. He'd probably die, but still.
Well, Bumpy really carried, but we don't need to talk about
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
But there is established that Buck and Doe were in the Biosyn Valley before
Mm.
Rexy. I would love to see them do something with Buck and Doe.
That's true. Yeah, that's the most interesting thing I think you pointed out to me so far is that because like
Because
I thought for sure that we were just going to see the T-Rex next season. I'm going to be like, oh, there it is again, because we're not going to get it in Rebirth, so maybe you got to give it to us this way.
my personal favorite T-Rex is Buck.
Hmm. Oh, he's many people's favorite.
So
Although
like
although I gotta say, sorry, I think that now you have the new contender for favorite for many people. If this Rebirth one can swim, just saying.
that's true, but
I think people love him a lot.
out of movies that we have, out currently.
Yeah, of
Buckley's
course.
my
Of
favorite.
course.
But
Not unreleased yet.
in having him reappear in Dominion, it's like, okay, well, there's 2 T-Rexes.
Mhm.
Junior was born of them. What's stopping them from
True.
making more?
Yeah, I can see it.
So, I mean, I really hope they do something with Buck and Doe. Obviously, marketing, they're going to do something with the Giga. They're probably going to bring back the
Oh,
Pyroraptor.
they have to do the they're going to do.
They're going to do something with Dimetrodon.
I'd like to see that.
They'll probably do something with Dilophosaurus. They'll have some herbivore scene where they're peaceful or something.
I hope it's the Iguanodon, honestly, bro, because we didn't see Iguanodon for shit last season, bro.
Obviously, we're going to see Bumpy,
Power in
though.
there.
Obviously, we're going to see Bumpy. They've set that up.
Oh,
Duh.
easily.
They're clearly going to have a reunion between Smoothie and Bumpy. Bumpy's going to be like, oh, it's my baby. And then meet Ben.
She's going to be like, oh, you're a smooth little bugger.
So I think Ben is going to run into Bumpy and be like, what? And then since what's his name? I keep forgetting Kenji's name for some reason. He's searching for Bumpy to give Smoothie to Bumpy. Yeah. That's how they're going to reunite. It'll probably be a little goofy, but like that'll close the plot point of them reuniting and then Smoothie. They can leave Smoothie with Bumpy, who will probably find some kind of other Ankylosaurus group, and they don't have to worry about Bumpy and Smoothie. Or who knows what. As for plot points, I really don't know where they're going to go.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this is going to be.
I kind of feel they shot themselves in the foot here.
Yeah. Okay.
Because them going to Biosyn either invalidates the reason for Grant and Ellie to go to Biosyn,
right,
or Ellie and Grant going to Biosyn invalidates the reason they go there.
Yeah, I can see that. Brooklyn's gathering information on Biosyn and all that sort of stuff, and then
anything,
Ellie and Alan's whole thing for going.
I would like to see them meet up with them searching for information, but we didn't see that in the movies, or they're like right behind them.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because you know what's going to happen. Like they're literally going to see like the chopper take off and stuff like that, and it's going to take place like last 4 episodes. Going to be a little bit after there, and they're going to have to find their way out and stuff like that.
I am excited to see the Gigantosaurus again, though.
Oh, for sure. No, a lot of people are, as I've spoken to a few of them. Yeah, and as you say, for me, like, I don't know. If you ask me that question, I don't know what I would say. Because again, like, not so much I think they shot themselves in the foot, but it's just that, like, I feel like this last season, obviously, it has to be the last season because what else are you going to do after this? You've sent someone to prison. I think I want to see. Again, they wouldn't do this, but I think I want to see a scene where after everything's all done and dusted, and everybody's together or whatever and stuff like that. Brooklyn go to prison and talk to Sayona through the glass things with the phones.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear Sayona's perspective on everything, and I want to hear her maybe say something about the fact that like she knows like that the end of like dinosaurs on the mainland as we know it is coming to a thing and stuff like that. I'll go on to see some little bit of confidence there, and knowing that like even though she beat her and she got her like locked up and stuff like that, that like ultimately everything that she did it for, like the dinosaurs and stuff like that, that it's not going to last. Because we know they're going towards rebirth within 5 years. All of them, except around the equator, are going to be dead. So, interesting. I don't know. And also, it's going to be a big final goodbye thing between Bumpy and Ben. Because, like, if they have to leave Bumpy here in the Dolomites, because you can't take him back with you. So, like, it's going to be like a final big goodbye thing, and Ben's going to, like, leave. It's going to be kind of like how Owen did with Blue, you know? Like, he gave her her baby back and stuff, and then, like, they kind of run off into the jungle. I think that's what it's going to be. And I think it's going to be sweet. I'm going to enjoy it. Again, I would just watch.
Honestly,
100 seasons.
Very random. But technically, I think it was Darius and one other person, I'm forgetting who right now, had an interaction with Blue in Camp Cretaceous.
Yes.
It would be interesting for them to run across Blue once again.
Yeah, although...
But that's not really possible because Blue's not in Madison Valley.
No. She's living in what the hell was it? Was it Nevada? Where was it? Oh my god, how am I blanking on this?
I think Wyoming, maybe.
No, it was oh my god, it's pretty sure it's Nevada. Probably 100% wrong on this.
Owen.
It's Owen's Ranch. I'm pretty sure it's
living
Sierra
at
Nevada. It's
the
Sierra Nevada mountains.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, I had to think about the game, bro. I don't know why I struggled with that one.
Which would be snow-capped mountains.
So yeah, apparently she's there. Which again, if she's up there, apparently she's dead as well. Somehow they're all
Probably.
gonna die. I love that. It's such a weird spot, man. With like the canon.
California? He's living in California. That's kind of silly.
Wild.
And he built his own house too.
Oh, for sure.
I'm curious if that house he built amounted to anything, because it's clearly not where he's saying.
Who, Owen?
So yeah, Owen just kind of started building a house just to
Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, that's just where he lives, bro. That's literally it for him. That's just kind of it for him.
He's like, Claire rolled up and was like, "What you doing?" He's like building a house on a cliff.
Yeah, I got a cabin to finish.
Like alone. I'm like that's a little goofy, but I don't really care enough. So it's a plot point to get him in to show he was retired or whatever.
Yeah.
But like when they go to the other cabin, it's like, yeah, the other house he built is just like it just fell off the cliff or something. Don't ask questions about it. I like to think that he came back to it and was like, man, my house fell. I'm sad now. I'm gonna go build another one in a more reasonable location. And Claire's there and like amazing. He's like, y'all want to join?
That's good as. But I'll tell you what we'll do. Here, I'll just text you something real quick, Bubs. But yeah, so just to give off final thoughts though onto season 3 of Camp Cretaceous. See, you got me doing it now.
Camp theory.
You got me. Camp Cretaceous theory.
Chaos camp.
Oh God. Yeah. What's your final sort of thoughts overall there on the whole season?
I think the entire season has built to the 4th season. I think it has a lot of interesting concepts in it, like Biosyn training the dinosaurs. That'll be interesting because I'm sure that's something.
Yeah.
That they're going to. That would be something interesting that they play off in the next season. That they probably will do. I hope they don't do the bumpy mind controlled again thing. Because
they would never.
We've already seen that. We've already seen that. We don't need to do that again.
No.
But
I'm looking forward to the environment of it all. You know, like that beautiful environment and stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I'm hoping to see the swamp again.
Oh, I hope so as well, bro.
Because the swamp environment is very unique that we don't.
I'd like to see Iguanodon and Parasaurolophus side by side. I think I would like to see the new Biosyn Parasaurolophus.
I want to see a herbivore other than Therizinosaurus throw down with a carnivore and actually come out on top. It's a big ask and they're never going to do it, but get me giving the one example of when they do it and invalidating it.
And then actually
don't even count. It's still a theropod.
Oh God. But yeah, so but that's mostly all of my thoughts on season 3 of Chaos Theory. And you've got any final thoughts yourself?
I think I've given the final thought. It's probably one of the better seasons that they've had.
Oh, easily.
If I enjoyed it quite a lot myself. From what we had, I would say 3-1. No, maybe just 3-2-1. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Rate them backwards because
they're all everybody else. Yeah, everyone else in the comments, let us know what you think as well. And we shall see.
So I think that's all from us for right now. Yeah, thank you for coming on as always.
What a pleasure, bro.
But
I'm contractually obligated. I mean, I love to show up here.
Contractually obligated. What?
What?
There's not someone in your room with it on your head. Who said that?
No. I'm not blinking very fast. You definitely can't see me blinking fast, can you?
Your camera's not on. Nobody can.
It's never on. It's never on.
But yeah. So thank you for coming on. You can always find him on Instagram. Go check out there.
Oh yes.
Jurassic fan podcast. He pops up on there often. Yeah, I tag him and everything. You can go find it from my channel. But
exactly. And everyone listening, let us know what you thought about season 3.
Leave comments, like, subscribe, talk about what you liked. But
yeah, tell us.
Before we close it out, here's a word from our sponsor. If you got to run, you got to run, man. I'll see you
always
in a bit.
In a bit.
Huge shout out to today's sponsor, Dinosaur Trips. If you enjoy these majestic creatures I talk about here on the podcast and would like to go see them for yourself, I would heavily recommend Dinosaur Trips. Dinosaur Trips is a company created to give people a behind-the-scenes in-look on museums and dig sites, along with just having an amazing time looking at these amazing, fabulous, majestic creatures. So if you sound interested, go to www.dinosaurtrips.com and tell them Prehistoric Life sent you and get $250 off your tickets. Now, back to the show.
Well, I'm your host, Eric Crawford. I will see you all next time for more Prehistoric Life podcast. Remember, keep it prehistoric. Goodbye.